Hello, everyone, and welcome to my preview for the February 24th edition of AEW Dynamite. I am, of course, Miss Dynamite herself, Stephanie Chase, and I'm going to be running you through the card already announced for this week's show and giving you some of my thoughts, background, predictions, whatever I think about the matches we have coming up this week. But before we get into Dynamite, if you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel and maybe even give it a share. And if you, like me, love AEW, you can join me live right here on YouTube every Friday night for AEW Weekly. It is on at 11:30 p.m. UK time, and the link to the latest edition should be on your screen now. And if you want to support this video and AEW Weekly and all my work, you can head to my Patreon page. It's patreon.com/Stephanie Chase, where you can have a look at the tiers on offer for how you can show some support. And let's now get to this week's Dynamite card. And the first match we have announced is one that was set up on last week's show that sees Hangman Page take on Private Party's Isaiah Cassidy. Now, on last week's Dynamite, we finally got the answer to what was the contract that Hangman Page actually signed. If you remember, Matt Hardy got Page drunk, or so he thought, and presented him with a contract, one of Matt's managerial contracts that he previously had Private Party sign, and Hangman, unbeknownst to Matt, switched out the contracts. So what Matt Hardy actually signed was not any kind of management contract. It was a contract for a match that is set to take place at Revolution. Yes, it will be Hangman Page versus Matt Hardy, and the winner of the match gets the others Q1 earnings. Now, the contract was brought out on Dynamite by the Jaguars' super cute mascot. However, once the contract was handed over, he unmasked, and it was Private Party's Isaiah Cassidy who attacked Hangman Page, and then Matt Hardy paid Hybrid 2 to also attack Page. However, Page was saved by his best friends in the Dark Order. Yes, -1 led the charge as John Silver, Alex Reynolds, 5-10, all of the Dark Order guys came out to help Hangman Page. Now, for this match, I definitely do expect some dirty tricks from Matt Hardy. He's probably still mad at Private Party for losing their chance at the Impact Championships. Now he's going to want to see Isaiah Cassidy take out some of that anger on Hangman Page, who totally tricked him. Yeah, he out-carnied the carny Matt Hardy. Now, Isaiah Cassidy, of course, is a tag team guy, but he is the member of Private Party that previously faced Chris Jericho, so he does have some very good singles experience. But hopefully the Dark Order will have Hangman's back once again if Matt Hardy does try any of his dirty tricks, which may also include Jack Evans and Angelico, who seemed on being the Elite to be charmed by Matt Hardy and his money offers. But I do see Hangman Page winning this one. You really can't beat the Hangman right now, and he's setting up for a big match with Matt Hardy at Revolution. So my prediction for the winner of this one is definitely Hangman Page. However, I think the two of them are going to have a really good match as long as we don't get too many shenanigans. So another match that was set up on last week's AEW Dynamite sees Brandon Cutler taking on the Inner Circle's Jake Hager. Now, per Brandon Cutler, last week on Dynamite, he was just trying to do the right thing and save his best friends, the Young Bucks, and now he has to face Jake Hager. So last week, after the Young Bucks defeated Santana and Ortiz, the whole rest of the Inner Circle came out to beat down the Young Bucks. Then we saw backstage Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers looking on the monitors, but they didn't come out to rescue the Young Bucks. Instead, it was Brandon Cutler who tried to make the save, but he was completely outnumbered by the Inner Circle. Now, Brandon Cutler had been on a massive losing streak on AEW Dark until he beat Peter Avalon. Then he started racking up a few wins until he lost to Luchasaurus in a Dinosaur versus Dragon match. Yes, so I really do feel sorry for Brandon Cutler because he was just trying to be a good friend, and now he's landed this match with Jake Hager, and Jake Hager, you know, who wants to step in the ring with Jake Hager? He's an MMA fighter. He's extremely powerful. And I think per Brandon's going to get squashed here. But the other thing I would look out for was after the Young Bucks and Proud and Powerful match on last week's Dynamite, we saw Chris Jericho will get a little bit heated with the Young Bucks dad. And I'm just wondering if this is something that might also play into the match on this week's Dynamite. Are we going to see another appearance from Papa Buck? And will he face off again with Chris Jericho? Because, of course, we are building up to the Revolution Tag Team title match that sees the Young Bucks take on Chris Jericho and MJF. So I would say that the Inner Circle will be out to support their friend Jake Hager, and the Young Bucks will be out to support their friend Brandon Cutler, because frankly, it's the least they could do after he tried to save them last week. Now, in our women's eliminator tournament, we have Brit Baker taking on former AEW Women's Champion Nyla Rose. Now, Brit Baker advanced in the tournament on Monday after she beat Maddie Rankowski, who was a last-minute replacement for Anna Jay, who is sadly sidelined with a shoulder injury. Now, even though Nyla Rose is a former AEW Women's Champion, I do see Brit taking the win here, because at the end of her match on Monday, it really was Thunder Rosa that she was calling out. And it's Thunder Rosa that she really seems to still have her sights set on. So I think that after this match, it will be Brit versus Thunder Rosa. So I think it's going to be Brit that does advance to the tournament. Now, I will have the updated brackets here on the screen. And don't forget, this Sunday on Bleacher Report, we have Thunder Rosa versus Rio in the US bracket semi-final match. Next up, the Varsity Blondes, Brian Pillman Jr. and Griff Garrison will be taking on the Team Taz team of Ricky Starks and Brian Cage. And the Varsity Blondes are one of the up-and-coming tag teams that AEW has been building up on Dark. However, they've had some big Dynamite matches against some huge names. So they teamed with Danny Limelight previously to take on the Good Brothers and Omega. They've also faced Jericho and MJF and FTR. So even though they don't get the spotlight of, say, a Private Party or a Top Flight, they're really getting those reps in with big stars in the company. Now, the last time we saw Starks and Cage team just them together, they defeated Cody and Darby Allin. This match, though, I think is just going to be a plot device match after what happened on Dynamite last week when Team Taz, Brian Cage specifically, he powerbombed Sting, which was a very shocking angle that a lot of us didn't expect to see Sting take such a big physical bump. Darby Allin wasn't there last week. Sting was meant to be getting his revenge on Team Taz after they put Darby in a body bag and wheeled him around the parking lot. But yeah, it did not work out for Sting. There was no Darby. So I see this match as very much a plot device of something will happen between Sting and Darby. They'll probably come out and finally get some revenge on Team Taz as we continue to build to the big match at Revolution. I think the Varsity Blondes are probably going to get squashed, and we're going to see some interaction between Sting and Darby Allin and the rest of Team Taz, because Sting and Darby Allin, they really have to do something to get a bit of an upper hand against Team Taz because of what we saw happen to Darby 2 weeks ago and Sting last week. Next, we have a qualifying match for the Face of the Revolution ladder match, which will take place at Revolution, with the winner earning a TNT title shot. So on Wednesday, it will be Lance Archer versus Rey Fenix. So the ladder match was announced on last week's Dynamite. There are 6 spots in the match already announced are Cody, Scorpio Sky, and Penta. So I have to say, I do have a little bit of disappointment in this match because I think both Lance Archer and Rey Fenix would be really, really great in this ladder match. So it's sad that only one of them is going to get the spot. Another thing that's very interesting about this match too is that Lance Archer and Rey Fenix have been on the same side recently. Like last week, they teamed up with John Moxley to take on Eddie Kingston and the Butcher and the Blade. And in December, they teamed with Penta, Phoenix's brother, to take on the same combination of Eddie Kingston, the Butcher and the Blade. And speaking of Kingston and the Butcher and the Blade, they're the people I would really watch out for during this match, because last week before the big 6-man match, Eddie Kingston, he really laid out his problems he has with everyone. He still doesn't forgive Lance Archer over the Battle Royal, and he hates Phoenix because Phoenix turned his best friend Penta against him. So I think if there's going to be any kind of interference, it will be from Eddie Kingston and the Butcher and the Blade, though Kingston will really have to decide who he hates more when it comes to who he should cost the match. So I think for who will win this match, I'm going to go with Rey Fenix. Lance Archer, he's very good in multi-man matches. He would be great in the ladder match. He's been close to the TNT title before, losing to Cody in the tournament finals. However, I think right now it's really Rey Fenix's time. It's Rey Fenix's time to really show himself as a single star. He has been so impressive so far in 2020 that I can't see him losing out on a spot in this ladder match. I can actually see him being the person that eventually wins this ladder match, because he's just someone that he's great in a tag team with Penta, but he has so much singles potential. And I really hope that they see that and give him a push. And the TNT title, like that area of the card, I think is the perfect place to just heat him up and see him go out there on his own. And Lance Archer, he has been on the face side recently, but you got to wonder how long that will last. He does have Jake the Snake as his manager, and he's also a total monster. So I'm wondering if a loss here, like something like this could happen and really see him break and turn back to being the Lance Archer kind of wrecking machine monster that we saw when he first came to AEW. And maybe a somewhat surprising match, Ryan Nemeth is taking on Jon Moxley. Now, this is Ryan Nemeth's third Dynamite match, and he really gets the big stars. He first got Hangman Page, then he got Pac, and now he's getting Moxley. And Ryan Nemeth, I'm not sure how we're meant to feel about him, whether he is meant to be, a more permanent part of AEW, or if he's someone that's just doing a short run here. It's been quite unclear with how they present him. They give him such big matches, but then he loses quite quickly and definitively, like especially against Pac. And Ryan is, of course, the brother of Dolph Ziggler. There's really big comparisons to be made between him and Dolph as far as how they look and how they wrestle. So I just have this, I'm wondering where they're going with Ryan Nemeth, whether that he is someone that's just going to be here for a little while, or whether this is all, there's a plot centering around Ryan Nemeth coming up where maybe he will change up his look or something because of the losses he's faced. But I expect this match on Dynamite against Moxley to be a really quick win for Moxley and more of a plot device match. So straight after, Moxley can get in and deliver one of his amazing dynamic promos, talking about the exploding barbed wire match. And there you have it. That is the card for this week's AEW Dynamite. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a like and a share and subscribe to my channel. And of course, I will be here on Friday night for AEW Weekly, where we will go in depth on whatever happens this week in Dynamite. We are so close as well to Revolution, and I have a lot of great stuff coming up on the channel related to that. So yeah, hit that subscribe button, stay tuned, and I will see you next time.